Hello everyone, glad to have you here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening everyone from different time zones. So glad to have you here on one of our Developer Series webinars. Before we go ahead and start our webinar, I just would like to give you a small introduction about our Developer Series. So IBM have put together some webinars about different technologies ranging from AI, data and AI to blockchain to IoT and application development and microservices and many others. So I would like to encourage every one of you, or actually invite every one of you to follow us on the links you see here for our social media accounts, so that you you'll be updated with every single event and every upcoming event of ours. So as you can see, we have a meetup group that you can join. We also have our Facebook group and page right here. You can please go ahead and join that as well. Another thing I wanna share with you is developer.ibm.com, which is actually a great website where you can find many learning resources and many open source applications and projects. So simply you can find there many tutorials, code patterns, and even courses related to different topics like data and AI and different many other topics. So next, for today's topic, we are going to be discussing how to build a smart and extended capabilities or extend the capabilities of our chatbot. So today we are going to actually try to unlock the power of unstructured data and show how we can use different tools of AI to connect to a chatbot and make it actually more powerful and extend the capabilities of our chatbot. So with us today, we have Anam Mahmoud, which is developer advocate based in UAE, and Hashim Noor also, which is a content and application developer based in UAE, and me, Mustafa Abdel Alim, working as a developer advocate for IBM in Egypt. Next, I want to let you know all that we have a survey link, and it's very important for us to know what you liked, what you didn't like, and what do you think should be improved, what different topics you want to be covered in the future. So for any reason, if you are going to skip or get out of the webinar before the end of the hands-on tutorial, please go ahead and go to the link and fill in it and fill it in. It's very important for us to know what you liked, what you didn't, and to improve and try to meet your expectations. So please go ahead and fill in the survey, and I think it's going to be shared in the chat section as well. Another thing, I want to give you some intro about the interface or UI of Crowdcast. So as you can see up top here, you can see the headline of our webinar today, and if you press that, you will get different and more detailed information about our webinar today. And as you can see here, also you can follow our IBM developer account on Crowdcast. And another thing is that you can also, of course, at any time chat with us or chat with everyone. Please go ahead and use that at any time. And then you can also ask any question you want about the content today or anything related to IBM and our webinar today. And also you have the green button, you should be seeing it right now. And in this button, you can see different links related to our workshop and the resources we'll be needing for our workshop today. Next, I'm going to go through the agenda or what we are going to be covering today. So we are going to have a very brief introduction about AI, what's AI, and then we are going to have also a brief introduction about chatbot, what is a chatbot, and some example or some popular example of a chatbot and an assistant, and then why would we need such technology, and then what are we building today or what is the application we're building today, and then we are going to go through what we call IBM Watson Assistant, which is mainly the tool we are going to be using to build our chatbot. And we'll go through the building blocks of our chatbot or Watson Assistant, or the main blocks you will be using to build a chatbot. And then we are going to use another tool called Watson Discovery related to smart document understanding, and we'll be giving you some information about the service and what actually it does and how it works. And we are going to share also some information about the market challenges and why to use Discovery and how to use it. And then we are going to share the Discovery pipeline, or how to actually get something or get some insights from some docs or some text data you upload to Watson Discovery. And then we have the hands-on part, which will be covered by Hashim, and then the summary, and then we will tell you about the call for code competition. So please stick around to the end of the webinar. So to start with, I'm going to just ask you, what do you know about AI, or what comes to your mind when we say the term AI? And let me just share the screen and let me repeat the question again. So what comes to your mind when we actually say artificial intelligence or AI? So artificial intelligence simply has many different definitions. So some people would call it is the ability of a computer system to perform tasks commonly associated with intelligent beings. Other people would say, so John Marcus is a person who actually coined the term AI, like to call it the science or engineering or engineering of making intelligent machines. We can also have many different definitions, like making a machine take decision without explicitly programming it, or simply, and a very broad definition would be simulating the human intelligence, and so on. So simply, if we want to make it very short and very broad, we would say everything that would try to simulate the human intelligence. And this actually would include many tasks that a human being is capable of, like reasoning and self-correction and learning from different or from past experience, and so on. So another thing I want to share right here is that a very common misconception about AI is that it is built, or it is actually developed to replace humans, which is not very accurate, because actually AI or any tool we build or any tool we develop is about enhancing our experience and making more accurate decisions and helping our communities, and helping actually the humans to focus on more complicated tasks and stuff like this. So it's not at all replacing any humans. However, it's helping us to do our jobs better and to get more insights from our data. So some of the applications of AI include many different applications in many different sectors, like shifting large amounts of data and driving insights from it, and maybe making a better decision, or making decisions that's related to some prediction we do with AI, like predicting the weather pattern, or predicting a stock market trend, or actually building a chatbot like we are going to do today. And it also can be used to create tools like Watson Discovery and Watson Assistant and different other tools that can interact with humans and can interact with hundreds of people at the same time without overloading it. And as I said, it's actually to make our life easier and to help humans do their jobs in a better and more smart way, if we can say it. And so simply AI is trying to augment or mimic the human capabilities and human abilities to do different stuff. And as you will see today, we are going to build an application, which is a chatbot, and we are going to try to make it as smart as we can, so that when someone's talking to the chatbot, he actually feels like he's talking to some person, not a machine. So with that, we go to the next point, which is chatbot. And what is chatbot? And simply, a chatbot is an AI tool that try to mimic human conversation, of course, with the value or the objective of providing some value to our end user. So chatbot is used in many different sectors, and I'm sure that every one of you have previous interactions with many chatbots. So most likely your telecommunication provider or your mobile network provider will have a chatbot. If you're using some bank, your bank will have a chatbot and stuff like this. So using chatbots can actually automate many tasks and offload many jobs, or many tasks from humans to chatbots without overloading it. As we said before, it can deal with like hundreds of people without needing to or without overwhelming the chatbot, because it's a software. So simply, if it's overwhelmed, or if the resources or computational resources of it is exhausted, you can simply just expand the capabilities or the computational power it uses. And with the cloud technologies and modern technologies we have today, it's very simple. It's just like a click of a button and you can do it. So simply chatbot is trying to mimic human conversation, and for our application today, as you can see, it's simply trying to get some input from a user and try to understand what is the intent or what is the target of the user, and then try to find the right answer or the right path to drive or direct our user into, which can save much time for the customer and for the human agents at the company or at whatever entity is using the chatbot. It's used in many applications. It's not only used in like customer service. It's also used in agent when you apply to something, it can actually collect the information from it automatically. It can be used to collect some reviews and feedback about some product. It can be used in agent or new customer importing to some service. It can be used for even internally in some entity for helping and offloading some of the work of HR functions, and so many other applications. Next, we are going to discuss some very popular examples of the chatbot or the virtual assistant. So many of you would have an iPhone or an iOS mobile phone or an Android phone. So if you have an Android phone, we have something called Bixby, and of course the most popular assistant would be Siri of the iPhone. And simply Siri and Bixby and Alexa and many other, and Watson Assistant and many other assistant is just designed to simply try to mimic or to simulate a conversation between two humans. So if you know it, or you must have tried it before, like if you tried to talk with Siri, you will feel like you're talking to some human. So you can just simply tell her to just assign or set a reminder for something, or to make a phone call, and it will actually understand your words and then do the task you ask from it. And actually what happens in the background is that it's using something called NLP, or natural language processing, which is a subsection of the AI, and it is simply related to handling or processing the text and like the text data. And so simply you would see that, of course, many of you would have had interacted with many different chatbots or virtual assistants before, and the most popular would be the Siri and Bixby. Now, a very important question is that why do we need to use a conversational agent? And as you know, we have discussed this in the previous slides already. It's very important. It saves too much money. It improves the customer retention and acquisition, because now customers nowadays expect to have like 24/7 customer support at any time from different platforms. So using a chatbot or an agent like Watson Assistant, you can connect it to different channels like Facebook, WhatsApp, and Slack, and also can be in like a voice version of it or the text version of it. So it's actually available all the time in different platforms and any time, because it's not a human agent, so it doesn't have to sleep or to rest or anything. Another thing is that it's used to improve the internal processes. As I said before, it's not only used for customer services, so you can use it actually to help your customers or your agents or your employers inside your entity to find some answers to some questions in a fast manner, without having to ask any other employee and take off his time, or without having to like load other employee or HR or whatever the person related or responsible for the part he wants to ask about. And then another very important thing, which is reducing the cost. So simply, it's just, as I told you, if you want to expand your capabilities or cover more people, you would have to just expand the computational power used without having to like having to hire new agents and stuff like this. So it's a very important when it comes to reducing the cost. And also, it's not reducing the cost related to only hiring new persons or not, but also to actually offload many of the typical or very easy tasks to the chatbot, so that the human can like concentrate more on the more complex and more difficult tasks that require human interaction and human intelligence, and maybe human emotions and stuff like this. Now, for today, our use case or the application we're going to be building today is going to be using a chatbot or building a chatbot, which is simply we are going to be using IBM Watson Assistant for that, and we are going to integrate another service, which is Watson Discovery, which is related to smart document understanding. So simply we are going to connect those two services. So whatever chatbot you build, you can ever like cover all the use cases you have in the world. So what we do is that we try to have another assisting service like Watson Discovery, which can actually understand and extract answers from documents. So what we're going to be building, or what we're going to be doing today, is that we are going to upload some docs with some information, especially or specifically a user manual of some product, and we are going to let Watson Discovery learn on that and try to extract answers and entities and intents from the file or from the doc, and then we are going to connect it to the Watson Assistant, so that if the question is not covered inside Watson Assistant, it would go directly and search for the answer of it in the docs using the smart way of Watson Discovery, and then it would send back the answer to IBM Watson Assistant so that you can see it on the screen. So simply you won't have to worry about that from a front-end view. You'll just need to ask your question, and then everything is going to run in the background in a matter of in less than a second, and then it would come back to the answer from doc without having to explicitly program it or give an answer for every question you have. So here is the application, or here is a diagram or architecture diagram of our application today. As you can see to the far left here, you can see that we have our user, which is going to be interacting with our application, which can be a mobile application, a web application, or even directly to Watson Assistant. And then this application is going to be talking or speaking to Watson Assistant, and this communication is going to be done through the API of Watson Assistant. And of course, as we said before, that for the questions that's not covered in Watson Assistant and in our dialog, it's going to be looking for answers inside the docs we provided, and it's going to be using the Watson Discovery Smart Document Understanding to extract some answers from the doc we provided. So as you can see, we have the data sources here, which are the files we are going to provide Watson Discovery so that it would try to extract the answers for our questions and then send it back to Watson Assistant whenever needed. And next, we are going to discuss what IBM Watson Assistant. So simply, IBM Watson Assistant is IBM tool to build a chatbot, and it simply create a reasonable or a chatbot that can actually reason and get the entity or get the input of the user and try to find or extract an intent or the target of the user out of it using NLP and AI technologies. So simply it takes the input of the user and then uses NLP and technologies to understand what is the intent of the user, and then using the configuration we have inside the assistant, it's going to direct it into a flow trying to actually fulfill his requirement or like give him the answer he wants in the fastest way possible. And then you can actually, as we spoke before, you can actually connect it seamlessly to many messaging channels like Facebook, WhatsApp, or even your web application or mobile application, and all of this can be exposed through APIs and can be used from different applications like your application or a website or whatever. However, for websites, Facebook, WhatsApp, Slack, Twilio, we have a very fast integration tool, and then you can see it supports multiple languages, many languages, including Arabic, and it can understand the context. So it doesn't only understand the input of the user, it can actually understand the context. So if you, for an example of that, if you have some entity and it has two types of account, an enterprise account and a personal account. So if you go ahead and ask your assistant, I want to reset my personal account, so it will understand that it's a personal account, and then it would redirect you to the flow of resetting your personal account password, for example. Or if you say I want to or I forgot my enterprise account password, then it will understand it's an enterprise account, not the personal account, and then redirect you to the correct flow for that. And it doesn't require any coding skills at all. It only using UI you can develop and create your own assistant. So everyone, just stick around. If you don't have any coding, if you don't have any coding experience, you would be able to build the application today. Now we go to the building blocks of our chatbot. So we have three main blocks of our chatbot to build to build a chatbot inside Watson Assistant. We have something called intent. An intent is simply the target or the intent or the purpose behind the statement of the user. So simply, if I say I can't log into my account, so this might be this might mean that you have forgot your password, and the intent behind that would be forgot password. So the intent would be forgot password, and you can say the statement in different ways, like I can't log into my account, I forgot my password. You can say it directly, or the password is not responding, or the logging in I have problem logging into my account. And using the NLP and AI technologies, the assistant would try to understand your intent and redirect all of that questions, or all of those questions, to the intent forgot password. And then the second thing is the entities, and simply the entities are nouns or entities mentioned inside in the conversation. So it's like a name of a name of a known entity, a name of a hospital, a name of a bank, or maybe even a holiday, or actually maybe the type of account like we spoke of before. It can be many different things. That's very useful with the intent to actually help the assistant redirect the customer to his target question, his target answer as soon as possible, and in the smallest time, or in the smallest time possible. And then we have the dialog, which is the most important part, which is simply where we configure our dialog and our flows for each use case. So if it's I forgot my password, you should go through a specific dialog, and a dialog is actually organized such that you have nodes, and every node is supposed to be handling one use case. And as you can see in our application, we'll have some dialog node for handling the questions that's not covered in our dialog, and this node is actually going to redirect the questions that it can't find answer to our Watson discovery. And then Watson discovery is going to try and query our doc and try to find an answer for the question inside our docs without explicitly programming it, and then sends back the answer to Watson Assistant, and then you can see your answer on the screen. With that, I think we have another final slide about Watson Assistant, which is a very important part of Watson Assistant, which is analytics, and it's very important for you to improve your assistant. So analytics is simply a place where you can find some important insights about the interaction between the assistant and your customer. So you can see what is the average number of messages per conversation, how many conversations did this assistant receive, what is the most like asked question, or what is the most asked or what is the most queried product, what is the product that's getting more attention, and what entities, or actually what things that we don't cover well. And you can find this under weak understanding and different stuff like this. And all of these insights can help you improve your assistant and actually address the things that have weak understanding better, and then get some insights about the product. So what is the most popular product? What is the manual that doesn't have a very much understandable like text, so that everyone keeps asking about the product, so it's not clear in the manual. And also it can help you to define what's relevant and what can be removed from our assistant. and it can actually also be used in a feedback loop where you can automatically help your assistant, or you can automatically allow your assistant to learn and improve from the previous or the history conversations. With that, I finish my part and I will stop sharing my screen. I will send it to Anam to actually discuss the Watson discovery part, and then Hashim is going to take us through the hands-on part, and then we are going to summarize. It's all yours, Anam. Anam, can you hear me? Okay, I think Anam is going through some connection problems.
I think, Mustafa, you can, Anam will refresh and join. Until then, I think you can continue.
Yeah, so let me just make sure everyone have his IBM Cloud open.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Anam.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Let me just share my screen.
Yes, please go ahead.
All right. So, thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Anam, and I'll be walking you through Watson Discovery. So to start with, Watson Discovery makes it possible to rapidly build cognitive cloud-based exploration applications that unlock insights hidden in unstructured data. So they take the unstructured data from all possible sources, enrich the data to extract semantic meaning from each one of the documents, um, and then allow you to query the data and search concepts and semantics throughout the collection of documents, which helps you to find hidden insights. Now, the heart of Watson Discovery is natural language understanding. As Mustafa mentioned previously, that the Watson assistant uses natural language processing. So the Watson Discovery uses natural language understanding to basically perform very deep semantic analysis, extracting entities and the relationships from unstructured text. Now, you can also perform relevancy training. So the Watson Discovery can be trained to surface the best answers to queries that are run against previously enriched unstructured data. This includes very sophisticated search capabilities, and it can use standard formats such as the HTML doc and doc files. So now moving on to Watson Smart Document Understanding. So, Smart Document Understanding trains Watson Discovery to extract custom fields in your documents. Customizing how your documents are indexed into Discovery will improve the answers returned from the queries. Now, with SDU, you annotate fields within your documents to train custom conversion models. As you annotate, Watson is learning and will start predicting annotations, which we will see in the hands-on. So SDO models can also be exported and used on other collections. Now in the light plan, you have PDF, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, JSON, and HTML formats. In the advanced plans, however, you can also annotate Excel, the pictures and graphs. So picture formats can be PNG, TIFF, or JPG. Now, some of the current challenges businesses deal with include time constraints, unstructured data analysis, and the need for specialized knowledge. A large amount of manual work is necessary in addressing these problems. So with Discovery, however, businesses can successfully reduce the time it takes to build apps that extract value from structured and unstructured data. Now, that's because Discovery allows you for automated ingestion, which is Discovery crawls, converts, enriches, and normalizes data sets. Diverse content sources. Discovery offers you to bring your own data and other options, allowing you to securely explore the content as well as pre-enriched third-party content. It can easily adapt discovery's understanding to your corpus with integrated machine learning to surface the most relevant answer. So you can teach discovery to apply the knowledge of unique entities and relations in your industry or organization with Watson Knowledge Studio. So the business personnel devote too much time of their valuable time sifting through different data sources and documentation to find the information they need. So discovery helps address this problem and brings answers to the surface with great speed. With a small amount of training, you can train and teach discovery to apply the knowledge of your particular domain or industry to provide a more specialized and specific experience. Now, looking at the discovery pipeline, we begin with raw data and then it goes to the process of ingestion. Now, ingest means lifting and loading the documents into the Watson discovery. With convert, each document is then normalized or converted into standardized format for further analysis. And then when you're enriching the documents, each document is analyzed, entities are extracted, relationships between the entities are extracted and identified. All the semantic relationships and semantic meanings are stored away in indices for further processing. When you come to normalize, data is cleaned up, organized, and normalized. You can then move on to the storage. The document, along with the indices are stored in the cloud. So, so with the query, you understand data faster and you create better hypothesis. So the data that is stored in cloud, so they can be queried with the natural language query or discovery query language. With the output can be fed to new or existing applications. So now I'll hand it over to Hashim for the hands-on session. Please use these links to sign up to IBM Cloud. And Hashim.
Thank you, Anam. Let me start sharing my screen. All right, can everyone see my screen? Is my screen visible?
Yes, Hashim, we can see your screen.
All right, awesome. So thanks everyone for joining, and I'll now be taking you guys through the hands-on session for today, which is basically building a Watson Assistant chatbot, which will be connected to Watson Discovery. And in Watson Discovery, we will ingest a user manual, which which will be able to traverse through using the queries that the questions that we ask to the chatbot. So the use case that we have for today is, as my colleague mentioned, it's that of a customer service bot, which can be used to answer questions about a certain product. The example of a product that we're using is that of a water heater. So if a user wants to know certain information about that product, such as how do I switch this on, how do I check the thermostat, and so on and so forth, instead of actually going through the user manual line by line and calling the representatives at the company, they can ask their questions through the chatbot, which will go through the document and then respond back to the user. So let me show you how this is done. We'll start by creating the the IBM Watson services. We'll be leveraging two services for the purpose of this demo. The first one will be Watson Assistant, and the second one will be Watson Discovery. So let me start creating the services. The first service we'll create is Watson Discovery. In order to do that, I'll search for Watson Discovery using the search bar. And once the service appears, I'll simply click on it and then click on create. It takes a few seconds for the service to be provisioned. And once the service is provisioned, you can see it on the from the resource list. So currently the service is in progress, provisioning in progress. So that's why it's saying So that's why it is showing this message. Once the service is ready, then it will show us the message of active. Now, meanwhile, while this service is being created, I would like to request you guys to create your IBM Cloud accounts using the links that my colleagues shared in the chat. For those of you who want to follow along in this tutorial. And at any point during the tutorial, if you are if you feel a bit confused or if you don't understand anything, please feel free to post your questions on the chat, and me and or one of my colleagues will do everything to make sure we answer your questions. All right, let me just refresh the page quickly once again to see if the service is ready. Nope, it's still in progress. All right, so what we can do is, meanwhile, we can create the Watson Assistant service, right? So let me search for assistant over here. All right, so once the service name appears, we'll click on that. And now while creating the service, Watson Assistant service, the default option that is chosen is light. However, I want you guys to scroll down and click on the trial version. Now, the trial version is also free for 30 days, and you don't need to provide your credit card. The reason why we are choosing the trial version and not the light is because we'll be using, in our tutorial, we'll be using something called a search skill. Search skill is the component of Watson Assistant which allows us to integrate Watson Assistant with Watson Discovery. Now, this is available for the Plus plan users, or the trial version. The trial version, as I mentioned, is free for 30 days. And you don't have to provide any credit card. So for those of you who want to try out this, for those of you who want to try out this tutorial, I guess this is it's a very good way of doing this hands-on, because you won't be requiring to put any credit card information. So once I select the trial version, I can click on create, and let's wait for a few minutes for the service to be created. And again, once the service is created, it will take me to the Watson Assistant main page. However, what I want to do is I want to actually configure the Watson Discovery service first. So I'll go back to the resource list, and Watson Discovery is now active. So I'll go to that service and start configuring it. Now, my colleagues already mentioned this, but I'll reiterate once again. What Watson Discovery does is that we provide our data to the Watson Discovery service, and it uses natural language processing algorithms to extract insights from whatever data whatever data we feed into the service, to provide us with the most relevant queries, or to provide us with the most relevant pieces of information that we are looking for. Now, after clicking on Launch Watson Discovery from the main page, what we need to do is we need to upload our data. And as I mentioned earlier, the data set that we'll be using in today's webinar is a user manual, right? A user manual for a heater, from which we'll be extracting some information. So in order to upload the data, we'll click on create the upload your data button. And it will show me a pop-up if I want to set up some space to store some data. And I'll click on setup with my current plan. Let's give it a couple of minutes, and it will ask for the name of my collection. And I'll name it as user manual. Once that's done, I'll simply click on create. And this will be basically my space to store documents will be set up. All right. Now, once this instance is set up, I can now upload the document to it. I already have the PDF version of the document saved on my desktop. However, for all of you who are following in the tutorial, you guys can get the user manual, the sample user guide, from the GitHub link, which my colleagues will already have shared on the chat. And so this is a user guide that we'll be using, and I'll click on open in order to start the process of uploading this document. right? So after the uploading is finished, we'll have to configure some data. We'll have to make some, we'll have to provide some annotations for Watson Discovery to allow it to better extract information from the document. However, this process of uploading the data takes time. So I'll come back to that later. Meanwhile, I'll go back to the Watson Assistant service, which is the which is the AI service we'll be using to build our chatbot. I'll go to that and we'll configure our chatbot in the meantime while this document is being uploaded. So I'll go to the Watson Assistant service, click on the Launch Watson Assistant button, and it will give me an option to create my first assistant. Right, so it has provided me with an option to create my first assistant. Sorry, I mean the dialogue skill, which is basically the instance of a chatbot through which I'll be asking questions to the chatbot and I'll be getting my responses back. So this is the instance of the dialogue skill which I'll be using in order to, for the purpose of this webinar, we'll be only training the chatbot to answer one kind of question, which will be like some basic information about the products, such as how to switch on the water heater, how to turn on the thermostat, and so on and so forth. However, understandably, if you want to increase the scope of the chatbot, if you want to add more functionalities to it, you can definitely add more intents and dialogues to it. Right, so I can start creating my intents if I click on the dialogue skill, and over here I have the option of creating my intent. So I'll go ahead and click on create intent. And over here, I will put the name of the intent as product help, right? Because essentially what what this assistant is doing is it's helping me configure the product that I'll be using, right? So I click on create intent, and then I will add examples of questions which the user can ask if they need some help configuring the product, our product being the water heater, right? So some of the questions that users might ask us are, how do I switch on the heater? They might ask us, how do I set the temperature? How do I set thermostat? And also they might ask us, how do I set the timer? Because I guess this water heater has a timer which users can set up. Right, so these are examples of questions which the user can ask the chatbot, and the chatbot will go through the user manual which we uploaded in the Watson Discovery service, and then find answers to these questions and respond back to it, and respond back to the users with their with the most appropriate question. Right, so I've created the intent, and now however, before I create the dialogue, I will go back to my Watson Discovery service, which I had stepped away from because the document was being uploaded. I'll go back to it and show you what changes we'll need to make to the data in order to make sure that Watson Discovery analyzes the data more correctly. Right, so now that the document has been uploaded, we need to go to configure data. And over here, we'll see the entire document that has been uploaded. Right, so this entire 40-page manual has been uploaded. And what we need to do is we need to tell Watson, we need to annotate this document, meaning we need to highlight certain texts in order to allow Watson Discovery to understand what those texts are, so that it can look for the information in the right place. So for example, this text, user guide, and the name of the product, it can come under, I guess, a title, right? So I will mark this one as title, and all of this information can come as a footer. So I'll mark this as a footer, and this one will then be a page number, which I can also mark as a footer, I guess. And once that's done, I'll click on submit page. So this page has been validated, And then as you can see, it is now this is the table of contents. I have the option here for table of contents. So I'll just select that and highlight all of this because this is table of contents. For the page number, I'll put it as the footer again, and I'll click on submit page. Now, and for the other table of contents, again, I'll do the same. I'll mark this as table of contents. The page number, the page number is marked as the footer, and I'll click on submit page once again. Now that this has been done, I will get into the main text and start annotating that. For the purpose of this webinar, we'll be marking all of the headings in green as subtitle. The title being the title was the main the main title of the user manual was marked as title. For everything else, we marked it as a subtitle, and we'll mark the headings as subtitle, and for everything else we'll mark them as text. All of this will be text. This all will be text as well. For the pictures, we'll leave them be. All of this is text, and the page number has already been highlighted, right? So I'll click on submit page, and for the next page I'll have to do the same. Now this seems like a lot of work and a lot of things to do. However, as you'll see in a bit from now, that once I do a couple of pages, Watson Discovery will actually get a pick up on what I'm doing and try to replicate that for the other pages as well, right? So if I click on submit page, if I go to the next page, I have to make less changes, right, comparatively, because by now the service is getting an understanding of what I'm trying to do, that I'm trying to mark all the headings as subtitles and all the text as everything, all the information as text. So anyhow, this process takes some time. It's a bit time consuming, but however, after a few pages, the service will, as you can see, it's getting better. So now the headings are being some of the headings are, it is identifying some of the headings correctly. For some others, we still have to mark them manually. But needless to say, as I keep on doing it, this process will keep on getting better and better, right? So for this page, for example, I didn't have to change anything, right? So I can just click on submit page. So, and same for this page again, right? So by now it has learned what I'm trying to do. So I can just keep on clicking on submit page. Again, however, this is a time consuming process and we have 40 pages to go. So I will not annotate this entire document because it's going to take us a long time. However, I'll just go to a document, this exact same document, which I have already annotated. I have another instance of Watson Discovery service running over here. Let me go to configure data. And over here, I have the user manual, which I have already annotated. So all the pages have been done. So just to give you guys an idea of how it looks like, right? So for this user manual, I annotated all of the pages. And so yeah, for now, I'll just be using this as an example because just to save time. Right. So now once we are done with annotating the document, we need to go to manage fields in order to provide the most effective, the most relevant fields that are most relevant to us, right? So the chatbot that we are creating will provide us with answers to users' questions such as when how to switch on the water heater, how to set the temperature, and so on. And if you remember, while we were annotating it, all of that will be captured under the text, right? So we marked the headings as subtitle, and everything else we marked it as text. So for everything else, since we don't need it, we'll just make sure that it's so we'll make sure that this is selected as off, right? And since we only need the subtitle, the text, and the title, we'll only keep that. And and we'll split the document on the occurrence of each subtitle. Right? We can select different fields, but in this case, the most relevant field to split the document by is the subtitle. Right? So the idea of behind splitting the document is again to make it more efficient for Watson Discovery to search for the information that we are looking for. Right? So once we are done with that, once we have uploaded our data to Watson Discovery, we have annotated the document, and we have identified the most relevant fields that we want, we can then go back to our Watson Assistant service and make the connection between the two. Right, so let me go back to this one, the Watson Assistant, which I had left off in the middle, and complete the chatbot that I was building. So I'll go back to the Assistants tab, uh, and I will build a search skill. What is a search skill? A search skill is, as I mentioned before, it is an example of a it is used to make the connection between Watson Assistant and Watson Discovery. Right. So if I click over here, if I click on Add Search Skill, I can select a name for it, and let's say I pick a name such as Discovery Search Skill. I can once that's done, I can click on Continue, and it will automatically tell me which instance of Watson Discovery I want to connect this search skills to. Right. So I only have one instance of Watson Discovery running, so I'll select that, and what is the data that I want this search skill to go through. It's the user manual that we uploaded. So I don't have any other data over here, so these are the only two options that I have. Once I have selected that, I can click on Next. And over here, I will, I need to configure the format in which the data will be showed to the user, right? So what I want the user to see, I want the user to see text, right? All the information all the text that has been gathered, I want the information to be displayed as text, right? So I'll go ahead and select that, and I can click on Create. Right, so and now you'll see that the search skill has been created. Right, so up till now, what we did is we created the instance of Watson Discovery. We annotated everything. We annotated the document. We selected the fields that we wanted to use. We created an example of a chatbot. We identified one intent, so which we'll basically be configuring, which is to answers users' questions regarding some information about the product. So we configured the intent. We created the link between the Watson Assistant and Watson Discovery. Now, one final step that we need to do before we can start using it and start seeing results is to create the dialogue, right? So we created the intent. Now we need to create the dialogue, which is basically the flow of the conversation between the chatbot and the user. So I'll click on dialogue, and I'll add a dialogue node for that. I'll select the option to add node below. I will name this node as product information, and I only have one intent over here. So the way I'm configuring it is that if the chatbot recognizes the intent of the user to be product help, then I want the assistant to respond with the search skill, right? So the idea is that if the chatbot recognizes the intent of the user is that they need some help with product, then it will uh, redirect this response to the search skill. And the search skill, as you know, is the connection between the Watson Assistant service and Watson Discovery. So what the search skill will do is that it will go through the user manual that we ingested in the Watson Discovery service, extract the most relevant information and show it to the user. Now, right, so and with that, our entire chatbot and our connection between Watson Assistant and Discovery is completed. So I can simply close that and show you guys what it looks like in the preview. So now in order to see how now in order to preview how everything is going, I can click on the preview button over here. However, and I can ask the chatbot a question such as, how do I switch on the water heater? Now, take a close look at the responses over here, right? Because so as you can see, it is what it did is it provided me with this answer, right? To configure the water heater, it is giving me some information of it. Basically went through the entire user manual, and it is providing me with whatever it thinks is the most relevant information for my question, right? I let us try it with a different question, such as, how do I set the timer? And again, it will the answer that I get over here is the most relevant according to the question that I asked, which the AI engine found in the user manual, right? So as you can see, the benefit of it is very obvious, that instead of me having to read the manual, what I did is that I ingested the user manual into Watson Discovery, and I can simply ask the questions via a chatbot, which is then getting its answer through Watson Discovery and showing the answers to me. For our case, our manual was super short. It was just 40 pages. However, as you can imagine, there are some products whose manuals are maybe like hundreds of pages, right? So in that sense, it is extremely valuable to have an engine like this, which can automate this process for you. And so instead of you having to go through the entire manual, the AI engine can extract the information for you and provide the most relevant information for you. So, and that's basically it for the hands-on session for today. You can very easily link this entire application which we created with any other application, such as a web chat or a web application and so on. You can simply click on the add integration button, or if you want to add it with web chat, you can click over here, and you can link it to the web application, which actually has been provided to you via the GitHub. So you can simply you can simply follow the instructions mentioned in the GitHub repository to sort of link this entire application to a front end and run it locally or deploy it to IBM Cloud. Right? The process is fairly simple, and all the steps are mentioned in the GitHub repository. So I will not be going over those, but the chunk of the matter was basically the configuring the Watson Assistant services and Watson Discovery services, which we covered in the session today. So, and with that, I'll switch. I'll leave the floor to my friend, to my colleague Anam, to conclude the session for today.
Thank you, Hashim. I'm going to share my screen now, but in the meantime, I will also answer the few questions that we have. Just give me a moment. Okay. Okay, so we have a question from Pramod, how much accuracy are we talking about when it comes to correctly identifying the labels? So, as an example, I have mentioned that Watson Discovery can ingest 100,000 PDF pages per day with the accuracy above 97%. And then it can train and apply advanced machine learning models to extract content from the documents, which leads up to creating custom knowledge domains 66% faster. We have another question from Sinazo. After a free trial, am I going to start paying for it or what? No, you will not be paying for it since you are using the trial plan. It's only valid for 30 days, after which your services will be deleted. Then, is there a photo on the PDF? Will it be showed from Sarah? You need to have an advanced plan with Watson Discovery for the images and tables to be accounted for. The search skill is basically Watson Assistant, and yes, it does have the Arabic language, so you can try that out. Okay, so let's move on to our summary. So thank you all for joining us today and hope you learned something new today. So as a summary, we talked about artificial intelligence, which is the ability of computer system to act and mimic human actions. We talked about the common misconception where we think that it's supposed to replace humans, but however, AI is supposed to augment or enhance our abilities. We then talked about chatbot as a tool that can imitate human conversation. And we also saw how Watson Assistant helps in doing so and acts as a person is talking to you. So we looked at the chatbots that have many applications and can be integrated with websites. Then we talked about Siri and Bixby and Alexa. After which we moved on to Watson Assistant. Watson Assistant is used to build your own chatbot that can be integrated with any device or application and even social media or messaging channels such as Facebook Messenger, Slack, or Voice Agent. So it supports up to 12 languages. As to answer the question, it supports up to 12 languages and you can try those out. Then we talked about the different components of Watson Assistant, such as the intent, which is what the purpose of the user statement is. We then talked about entities, which are used to further clarify the user intent. And then finally, the dialogue, which is the flow of the conversation. We then moved on to Watson Discovery, where we learned about how Watson Discovery helps to build cognitive cloud-based exploration applications that can help and unlock insights from unstructured data, how it uses natural language understanding to perform deep semantic analysis, extracting entities and their relationships from unstructured text. We also looked at relevancy training, how it can be done and how it can improve the accuracy and how it answers the questions. We then talked about how some of the challenges that we face, such as such as time, market constraints, and specialized knowledge. So we looked at how Watson Discovery can help with that. And then lastly, we looked at the pipeline of Watson Discovery, which includes the ingestion, convert, enrich, normalize, storage, query, and output flow. After which Hashim demoed the use case where he showed how to integrate Watson Assistant with Watson Discovery and covering everything that we have done in the presentation. I hope this all binded together and you understood everything. If there are any questions, do let us know. Hashim?
All right, thanks, Anam. So before we conclude, I want to quickly talk about the IBM Digital Nation Africa platform, which is a learning and innovation platform, and it is currently it has more than 300 plus hours of free learning content available, and it has over 83 digital badges. We have courses in the areas of AI, data science, blockchain, and a lot more. And after the completion of each course, you're given a digital badge. The link to the platform is available on in this PowerPoint presentation. It's developer.ibm.com/digitalnation. And the platform, however, is only available in Middle East and Africa countries. So for those of you who are interested, I would highly encourage you to go through this platform and go through all of the free content that is available. There are so many use cases of how you can implement uh, AI and build various use cases using IBM AI services, and a lot more technologies as well. So do check it out, and I really hope you enjoy it.
Thank you, Hashim. So once again, the survey is here. You can scan the QR code, and we will also put the link in the chat below. Please give us your feedback of what you think, how the webinar was, what can be improved, and what you would like to see in the future. Now, some of the useful links. Some of the useful links that we have here are developer.ibm.com, which has tons of resources that you can look through, and different code patterns on different technologies. And we have cognitiveClass.ai and learn.ibm.com, after which in Cognitive Class, there are a lot of courses that you can take and earn badges, as well as from learn.ibm.com. Log into IBM Cloud for this webinar using this link. That it helps to track back to our efforts, and it really helps if you use this link instead of just logging in. Even if you have your accounts already made and you're just logging in, please use this account, and if you're signing up, do use this account. We have our meetup page that you can join and look at our upcoming webinars. Now, lastly, I would like to talk about Call for Code. Now, Call for Code is a global challenge that invites developers and problem solvers from all around the world to build and contribute to open source software. And it's basically looking at the most pressing issues in the world today. So for this year's challenge, we have the theme of climate change. Now, why should we join Call for Code? You can build up your skills and put your ideas to action. And there's a huge community of developers, over 400,000 developers. And if your solution wins, the global challenge winner gets 200,000 US dollars, university challenge winner gets 10,000 US dollars, and Middle East and Africa region winner gets 5,000 US dollars. Now, talking about the climate change theme, we have 3 sub-themes, and we do have code patterns on this, like starter kits to help you get started. The 3 themes are clean water and sanitization, zero hunger, responsible production and consumption. So we also have starter kits on these. You can find more information about Call for Code on ibm.biz/call-for-code. If you have any further questions, you can put them in the chat below or follow the link callforcode.org/FAQ/. For the starter kits, you can visit these links. And for our office hours, we have every Monday from 2 to 3. Now, thank you. And these are our emails. If you have any questions, please do reach out to us. And with that, we can end this presentation. If you have any questions, go ahead. Do take the survey and give us your feedback. I will go back to the slide so everybody can scan if needed and provide us your feedback.